Hi, here's Kranti, and today we have Paula with me. She's going to help us with demonstration. So we're going to work towards Urdhva Dhanurasana. So we're going to do a group of back bends in preparation for it. Okay, so we're going to start with the Asana. Okay, so we're going to start to open the front of the thighs. Okay, this is a very important part for Urdhva Dhanurasana in general, for many back bends. Okay, so we're going to start with this position. You're going to lift up slowly your arms, and then gently from here you start to lift up your knees off the mat, and you start to, first of all, you start to stretch. So start to push your heels back towards the wall behind you, and turn your pelvis backwards. So tilt your pelvis backwards, and at the same time activate your glutes, or the extended leg. And then from here we start to go a little bit down and then up again. And as you go up, you push your heels back, down a few times, and then up, down, and then up. And we stay here again, working with the pelvis backwards, keeping the legs straight. So push your heels back towards the wall behind you, holding for a few breaths. 2, 3, 4, and then slowly lower your knee down and release your arms. Good. And then switch. Yes. So slowly arms up, extend, and then gently start to lift up. Good. Tilt your pelvis backwards, stretch your back leg, push your heels back towards the wall behind you, towards the yoga mat, hold, and then slowly down, and then up 2, slowly 3, keep pushing as you stretch your legs, 4, good, and then 5, we stay here, hold, tilt your pelvis, good, activate the front of the belly, push your heels back, hold 4, and then slowly down, and rest. There are 3 components for Urdhva Dhanurasana that you have to mainly work. It's one, opening the front of the thighs, the front of the body. Second part is to activate and work on the spine mobility, and then shoulders mobility. Okay, so we did the front of the thighs before. Now we start to mobilize a little bit the spine. Okay, so come up into your hands and knees. And then gently we start to cat and cow breathing, so slowly start to curve the upper back, middle back, lower back, and then gently reverse the movement, starting from the upper back, middle back, and lower back. And you can just work nicely a few times, again slowly, tilt your pelvis backwards, middle back, upper back, as you exhale, and as you inhale, start to work from the upper back, slowly middle back, lower back, and then we do one more round. Again, tilt your pelvis backwards, activate your belly, start to push your spine up towards the ceiling, curve your upper back nicely, and then the last one, again inhale, upper back, slowly middle back, lower back, good, and then slowly rest. Good. Okay, now we start to work on strengthening the back muscle. Okay, we do back bends in general already. We contract naturally the muscle on the back, which are very important to support the spine all the way. Okay, so this is Shalabhasana. It's a very important pose. It's quite easy for most people as a back bend. One thing that I see normally, though, is the people that just start to go upwards, as an intention. They want to work a little bit different. We want to start the movement with a different intention. Rather than thinking of going upwards, we start to think about pushing the top of the head forward and the tip of the toes back. So try to elongate this direction. As we elongate, slowly, we start to float up gently, the legs, the chest. So keeping this intention of thinking about lengthening in the opposite direction rather than just going upwards and jamming the lower back. We stay here for another 3 breaths. 2, 3, and then gently keeping that extension, controlling the movement we go all the way down. And you can repeat this 2 or 3 times. Do one more time. Again, slowly. Top of the head moving forward, tip of the toes moving backwards. So just visualize this lengthening through the spine, space between the vertebrae. It's not so important how high you go actually, but try to create this space. And then slowly release down. And we do the last time. Again, the intention is to move opposite direction. Good. 2, 3, 4, and then gently release and relax. Next pose is Dhanurasana. So there are different variations, depends on the school, depends on the flexibility. Let's say that with legs separate is much easier for the back. So today we're going to see this variation. Okay, so you bend your knees and gently try to reach with your hands to your ankles. As I say in the previous pose, we change the intention. Rather than just thinking about just going upwards, you start to push actually the feet away from the buttocks. So pushing the feet against your hands. And this action gently start to bring up all your chest, your head. You keep pushing your feet up towards the ceiling and start to move your chest, the sternum, forward. We stay here for 3, 4, and then slowly control with the exhalation we go down. And we do 2 more times. Again, up. And here you can try some variation. You can try to bring maybe your feet together. Toes are pointing. Or you can flex your feet, so pushing your heels up to the ceiling. 4, and then slowly down. And we do the last time. You choose whichever variation you like to do. Up. Good. Again, push your sternum forward, push your feet away from your buttocks. 2, 3, 4, and then slowly down, release, and relax. So, next pose is Ustrasana. Okay, you start to see this pose again. This is one of the most intense back bends that maybe people will find a little bit challenging. One of the reasons is because as we move backwards, we start to put a lot of weight into the lower back. It's going to be the upper back, it's going to be just the upper body and the head hanging. And so everything is going to go mostly in the part of the spine which is bending more. So what we want to do is try to actually take away the pressure from there, okay? So we change the intention. We start to put the hands in the hips here. And the first movement is start to lift the front of the sternum up as you want to move your sternum up towards the ceiling. And then you start to coil backwards and slowly activate your glutes. So hold nicely and then start to move your hands back towards your heels, reaching your heels if you can. You can tuck your toes in, as Paula is doing in this moment. And the action is always sternum up towards the ceiling. So I don't want you to really relax, but rather keep pushing up. So there's not much weight into your feet. And after a few breaths here, you're going to push even more your sternum up to the ceiling, and this is going to take you off the pose. And down, sit, and stretch your back in child pose. So we do one more time. We try different variation. We tried before, it was a little bit easier. Now we try a little bit more challenging pose. So the toes are pointing back. Again, hands in the hips. Activate your glutes. Inhale, start to lift your sternum up to the ceiling. Start to coil your upper back and slowly middle back. And then finally, moving your hands backwards towards your heels. Make sure you're not relaxing, just keep holding, keep pushing your sternum up to the ceiling, hips gently forward, keep pushing up for 3, 4, and then push your sternum even higher, and then slowly up. And then child pose for stretching your back. Very good. The third component is shoulder mobility. Okay, so we're going to work with a puppy pose. Okay, so slowly bring your hips over your knees, just a little bit more forward than your knees actually. You have to walk your fingers and your hands forward. Now think about your sternum moving down towards the mat. Chin is forward. So here we start to work the shoulder mobility, of course, in flexion, but also the upper back. You stay here for maybe 5, 4. Keep this action. Try to move your sternum a little lower. 3, 2, 1. And then slowly walk back with your fingers and come up. Walk, walk, walk. So this shoulder mobility and upper back, which is the part of the spine that normally doesn't like to bend more. Okay, we can repeat this a few times, or just holding for a longer time might be even more useful. Okay, next drill for your shoulder. So we're going to work with Gomukhasana. Okay, again, this is just reflect the movement of Urdhva Dhanurasana we're going to do a little bit later on. So make sure that you external rotate your arm and gently reaching back. And if you can, reach with your fingers slowly, hold here for a few breaths. Try to rotate inwards, so bring your tricep muscle towards your face if you can. So this kind of rotation. Hold here for 10 breaths. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then slowly release. For people who cannot really reach the hands, you can just having belt or any other tools like towel, wherever. Okay, you can help your students or yourself to hold the belt. And again, it's in rotation, so bring your tricep muscle towards your face. Okay. And we just hold here for another 7, 6. More back bends. 5, 4. Walk your hands if you can. 3, 2. And then we gently release the belt and slowly relax. Now we're going to put everything together before we're going to Urdhva Dhanurasana. We move into the next pose. So here we might need to have a blanket or support. Okay, so we're going to move into Ekapada Raja Kapotasana. We're going to do a light version. Okay, so we're not going to go as deep as maybe the full pose. We can also use a blanket if the hips are not touching the floor, if your buttock is not touching the floor. Okay, so in this pose we're actually going to put 2 movements together. 2 works. We're going to work on the front of the thighs, the groins opening, as you see the straight leg, and the shoulder. Okay. So from here we start to bend the knee. We can use our belt, just holding the foot. And then slowly taking the belt as close as possible to the foot. And then gently, careful with your shoulder, with your elbows, we bring the elbows up. You can use one hand or two hands, just walking from the hands down towards your feet. Same action we did before, sternum moving forward and up. And then slowly, after 3, 2, 1, and then we gently release. Very slowly when you release, make sure you're not hurting your shoulders, your elbows. Okay, and finally we are in Urdhva Dhanurasana. Okay, so lay down on your back, just bend your knees, and keep your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Okay, so don't take your feet too close. And also be flexible of the fact the feet has to be parallel or not. Just slightly open are also okay. Now bend your elbows and put your hands on the block. We started with the block, which is a little bit easier. Okay, and slowly come up on the top of your head and rest there for a few breaths. Head is there, good. Adjust your elbows a little bit in, but not too much. Activate your glutes, and then slowly start to push your hands into the block. Tailbone forward. Press your heels down, press your feet into the mat. Sternum back towards the wall behind you. Forward. And then gently, all the way down. Exhale, go all the way down. And rest. Take your knees to your chest, gently stretch your back. So this variation with the blocks makes it a little bit easier. You can try once or twice with the block. And then if you feel comfortable, we can start without the block, okay? As before, open your feet a little bit wider, good. Put your hands close to the wall. You come up on the top of your head. Good. Rest there for a moment, adjust your arms, activate your glutes, and then start to push your heels into the mat, gently lift up, slowly. Good. Again, sternum towards the wall, but just be careful with your shoulders, keep your arms straight. Tailbone forward, so try to slightly tilt your pelvis backwards in order to stretch the front of the thighs. 3, 4, glutes act, good. And then exhale all the way down. Take your knees to your chest. And if you feel like you can do some nice gentle twist and then come to sitting. We can also move away from the wall if you have enough flexibility of the shoulders, so there's no risk for your hands to slide backwards. You can just work away from the wall. Put your hands beside your ears, good. And again, come up on the top of your head. Just to adjust first, adjust your arms, good. And then again, gently lift up. Give a nice rotation on your arms. Good. So move your triceps towards your face. Press your hands into the mat. Tailbone forward. Glutes active. Chest towards me. And 4. And then exhale slowly down, all the way down. Nice. Knees to your chest. Good. Yeah, you can open your arms and bring your knees to the side. Look to the opposite direction. And then change the other side. Look opposite direction. Shoulders down, good. And then slowly come to sitting. We are ending the session today. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Paula. And I hope this can be a little helpful for you to improve your understanding regarding certain things, and eventually get benefit out of this practice. Enjoy!